We're going to rip the Band-Aid off of today's topic, tipping. Too long has this subject been looked at as a taboo subject, or even just untalked about altogether. And even worse, when you go online to look up information about this, a lot of the information out there is very archaic and, I'll say it, wrong. So I sat down with some of the leading wedding industry professionals and asked their opinion on the matter of tipping.
So clients do ask me about tipping, and I usually do send them to 2 blogs that I think of it as a neutral source, and then I also suggest that if they have more questions after that, that they come to me. So I've done some research here and there, and I've actually reached out to like caterers to see what their opinion is, because I know definitely in the caterer section, those blogs are a little off. Some of these blogs will say that if you own your own business, not to tip, but that person is spending that money that you've paid them on other things. Assistance, working at home, traveling, that money is put to good use. That is not something that they're going on vacation with. This is the first time these clients are getting married, so they don't know any different. So it is my job to fill them in on that. So I do add little notes here and there about my opinions on things. I also know when you're at the end of planning your wedding that you are empty. And though you may love your vendor, it may be hard to give them a monetary gift, so a great thank you note is wonderful.
Tipping, yes, you should tip. This person has been with you all day for your wedding, going to provide you a beautiful video or a beautiful photo or wonderful music that your guests dance to. While yes, you did pay them, probably a lot of money, they're also going above and beyond in ways that you never know about. And if there are no problems that you know about, that's because all of these people put out 150 fires without you knowing about it. I like to give examples of how much do you tip? That's always a big question. $100, $20, $10, whatever. I say sometimes the best tip is a review. Some people don't like that answer, but that's what I say. A review can go far more than a $50 Starbucks gift card can ever go, because a review shows that you are a real person who put trust in that person to do a job, and they did a really kick-ass job. So a review is a great way to tip, and it's free. It's just your time. How awesome is that? And if you do have cash that you, once again, put in that piggy bank of like slush fund extra things that can come up on your big day, then you can pull from that, and it's not like you're scraping to find breakfast the next day because you have no money because you just tipped all your vendors. Once again, just work with a professional, put it in a slush fund, and then it's just like free money.
Anybody you would tip in real life, right? Like non-wedding world. So hair, makeup, transportation, catering. So those are the people, if you go to a restaurant, you get your hair and makeup done, or you get in an Uber even, you're still gonna be tipping. And if you don't tip in an Uber, you should. But let's say any of those people, they're going to be expecting a tip because that's the service that they provide on the outside, right? Anybody else, it's really not expected, but it's nice. If you feel like somebody went above and beyond, a way to show them that you're so grateful is to thank them with a beautiful, nice card showing some heartfelt sentiment and a tip. And reviews are great. People love reviews. When they come back from their honeymoon, the couple, they can contact the wedding professional and say thank you so much. It means so much when I get a card in the mail that says thank you so much, this was the best day of our lives, or I get that text the next day after a wedding. It's like, whew, it was amazing.
Tipping, we don't expect it, but we always appreciate it. So that's I've gotten anywhere from $200 to $500, and I usually get tipped a lot when there's a wedding planner involved because she makes sure that all the vendors get tipped. A lot of couples don't tip because I'm the owner and they don't think that they need to tip the owner. I honestly don't care as long as they are happy and we have the photos that they wanted. You know, tipping is like, it's like food. It's nice if you have it, but whatever, I'll deal if I don't. If I get a nice bottle of wine, I am happy. If they come to pick up their photos or something and they bring me a box of chocolates, I'm happy. So you could always bribe me with chocolates and wine, beer, whatever. just the fact, and even a nice thank you card is so sweet, or a nice email that says, I just read this email, it said, we didn't even finish looking through the photos, but I just wanted to send you an email, say that we're so thrilled and you went above and beyond. It's like, to me, that's just as important, as a tip or, a bottle of wine. It's just like, I just want them to be happy in the end. That's what matters.
Well, I can't speak to what is appropriate for each different vendor, but this is where a planner can help you with that, and there's a lot of different guidelines out there. I do think that if you're not sure, ask the vendor. Most of the times they'll let you know, and they'll be grateful that you asked. When it comes to catering, I have noticed that there's a lot of different information out there. You can look on some of the wedding websites, and they'll give you some guidelines, but having been a bride, having worked for a couple of catering companies, and having also been a cater waiter and a bartender, I can tell you that some of those suggestions are a bit outdated. In today's day and age, it is appropriate, and we suggest that you'll tip on the food and beverage portion of your contract, not the tables, chairs, linens, and all the extras that go in, but just the food and beverage, and that we suggest a typical 15 to 20%, just like you would in a restaurant. A lot of catering companies will have different ways to do it. You can usually add it to your contract to be broken up by the catering manager, or they'll say you can provide an envelope of cash. Whichever way you do it, I will always suggest to provide one lump sum to either the captain, the supervisor, the catering manager, and for them to disperse it appropriately, because there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that you're not going to see. So if you go around and individually try to tip each person, you might miss somebody who did a delivery, or somebody who's helping in the kitchen, or the busboy. You don't always see all the staff that's there making sure you have a great day.
So for us as a company, we don't require a tip at all. And really for any vendor, I would say tip when you know that you've got an exceptional service. When you've had somebody who has gone above and beyond, who's really serviced what you needed, what you wanted, and taken the time to take care of you, I think that's when you show your appreciation. Usually, if I am having an offline conversation with clients, I will tell them usually I say, I don't typically go by the 20% rule, because I feel like that becomes absurdly expensive. I feel like most vendors, if my DJs get $100, they're happy. We've had people that give up to $500 or $1,000. I got tipped a trip once to Cabo. In extremes is fabulous, but $100 goes a long way.
That is one of those areas that I feel like is kind of gray to me. I think for other vendors it might be different. I think for florists, you don't necessarily think that you're gonna go in getting tipped, but it's always wow, that's great. And in my experience, it's always felt like, oh, that's a lovely surprise, I do think it's important, and I don't think it's, if you own your own business, that means you deserve it less, or no, not at all, because I think what people don't realize, a lot of the times these small businesses, they're teams. A lot of the times I'm gonna take that tip and, hey team, we've got, let's share this. So the way we handle our teams is not what a big corporation handles their team. It's very different. They're family.
Well, with us, we don't expect tipping at all. It's always appreciated, but it's not mandatory with us. Some of our DJs have received $100, $50, $200, even more. It really all depends on how much a client wants to give, if they feel that there was extra added value. For us, tipping is not a requirement. We do appreciate it though, but it's not a requirement.
But generally people, will tip 10 to 15% of the contract, whatever they feel comfortable with. It's certainly not required. That's what generally people have done. They put it into cash, into an envelope, and give it to the planner, or you can give it to the leader or the photographer or video person. It's always greatly appreciated, and we distribute it to all the musicians or other people, the staff that you're working with. But it's just kind of a nice little way to kind of say thank you and stuff. And the amount really doesn't mean all that much to me, but the effort of doing that. And I think the best way you can also tip to is to write a review for that vendor as well. That really is one of the biggest ways you can show how much you appreciate. A handwritten note is certainly lovely, and a phone call and an email is nice, but take 10, 15 minutes, write a wonderful review, include as many details as you can, and write it on Wedding Wire, The Knot, Google. There's a lot of different places. And you can write one review and then just copy and paste in all these places, so it's super easy. Any kind of gratuity, 5, 15%, whatever you feel comfortable with, is greatly appreciated. But also be sure to thank vendor in the eye and say, you did such a great job, and it really means a lot that everything that you did. Take time to write them a review, and then refer us. Refer us to all your family and friends, and so they can share that great experience too.
And I think tipping's a taboo topic, but it should be talked about openly. So there's so much taboo information online about like how you shouldn't tip the owner of the company, or as mentioned, the owner of a studio or something like that. And coming from that perspective, like I can tell you that almost should be 100% false, because we are the last ones to see the paycheck. We have to make sure everybody else is taken care of first. All of the bills are paid first, all of the advertising, every, app and digital thing that we have to keep the business running is paid for. So we sometimes don't even see a penny from some of the events that we do. So we will appreciate that gratuity probably more than anybody else who may be expecting it. So in our line of work, tipping is obviously optional, but always encouraged, especially because we do send other artists and hairstylists out at a salon or anything like that. They make a commission. So out of courtesy, if you enjoy your artist's work and if you enjoy your hairstylist's work, you should tip them a little bit extra. We say our industry standard is 18 to 22% and base that off of your experience, and we hand it straight to the artist. We don't take any cut. The company doesn't take any cut of it. It's handed to your artist and it's at your discretion. We appreciate it and need it. Feed us.
For a venue in particular, we have like what we call a service fee, okay, which kind of takes care of like the tipping for our staff, okay. For like me in particular, sometimes they will go, or for my assistant, they'll go out and also tip us kind of on the side just because we have worked with them for a year and a half or something, which is fine. They don't have to, but it's always appreciated if they do. But for us, it is sort of nice that we sort of just put that out there. The 20% service fee is just out there, and then that takes care of our staff and it's all done. But for other people, like photographers and videographers, I wish it was sort of talked about more and, put out there more. I've gotten tips from like $50 and to one time I got $500.
Well, with our packages, gratuity is added on top of the per package pricing. So that is considered the tips for our banquet staff, our banquet servers, the setup team. Any additional tipping is not required. However, it's always appreciated. If there is someone that you have grown especially close to and they've really shown you outstanding service, again, it's not required, but they would certainly appreciate any tip.
We don't require it. Obviously, I never want to put somebody in a position where they feel like they have to. But I mean, it's obviously they're not a waitress or something like that. I'm paying them a living wage. If you like them and you feel like, man, they really, you freaked out and they calmed you down. They made you laugh. They were so enjoyable. They were a part of it. It's not like just some guy who was running a camera. Like, the logistics of it are, this is a dude who was next to you your entire wedding day. Like, he's with you more than your groom is. Yeah. Well, but you know what I'm saying, up until a point. And then, so if, just like anybody, I mean, if I go get my car detailed and they did a bang up job, like I'll tip them, if I go through the wash and they don't do anything except maybe kind of clean the window, I mean, I don't feel obligated. Tipping is great. It's for anybody who goes above and beyond the call of duty. If you feel like they were so awesome that you should reward them monetarily, then you should do it. Most tips I see, if we see them, are usually around 100 per videographer. I don't know how accurate that is in the entire industry.
Really, that's personal choice for you. I love getting a tip, and I know others do as well. I think it's super sweet. Is it necessary? I mean, like I said, it's your personal preference. If you want to give a little something extra because you felt they just did an incredible job, or maybe you had prior thoughts on tipping anyways, a tip doesn't necessarily have to be cash. It could also be writing a review. That's very beneficial for the videographer. If you want to send a card or a gift, that's also a nice tip. So it's really personal preference.
I don't often get tips. I really am shocked when I do. It's lovely. I don't expect it, and sometimes I feel a little weird. Maybe that's because it is taboo, but it is kind of a weird thing. I mean, I've already been paid, and I'm thrilled, and I love being a part of your day, and I probably love you at this point. But some of the nicest things, one of my couples sent me a little photo book that they put together of pictures from their wedding. I cried. Just, if you send me a picture, I will die of happiness. So those little things mean so much. Someone once gave me a little case for my business cards that matched my bag. It was a little thing, but it meant so much. So those little gestures are really nice.
I agree. I think tipping should be an expression of appreciation. It is never expected, but always appreciated. The fee is what it cost us to do the work that we're doing for you. If you were particularly pleased with it, it's nice to know that in the form of a gratuity, just like when you go out to a fine dining meal.
Any vendor loves to be tipped if they go above and beyond.
Right.
If you feel like someone did an excellent job, everyone loves to be tipped.
Yeah.
Hands down, whether they're own their own business, whether they're just a server, if someone goes above, let them know that you appreciate it. Whether it's a thank you card or tip, something.
Right.
So what's a good range for tipping for a photographer?
Yeah, and we've had couples send us a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Send us candies from their wedding day that they loved.
We've had couples hand us a couple $100s in cash. Like, it totally depends on the couple itself.
For most vendors, tipping isn't necessary. It's a wonderful gratuity that is unforeseen and unexpected. But if you feel like one of your vendors has gone out of their way to do a really good job for you, let them know. And as we've learned through this video, tipping doesn't have to be monetary. While monetary is always welcome because we love to eat and we love to pay rent, a thank you card, a review on our website, or a gift is extremely welcome and thoughtful. In fact, one of my all-time favorite gifts from a couple is a pencil holder that they made for me with my name on the front, and it's sitting on my desk. Every day I look at that and I think, I did a good job for them, and that makes me feel like a better person and a better business owner. I really hope this helped with you planning your wedding, and especially getting rid of the taboos of tipping.
We hope this episode of Vendors helps you on your wedding planning. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and to share to make sure you and your fellow planning couples don't miss a single episode. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out our entire conversation in the podcast. You can find all of today's vendors and their contact information in the details below this video. And be sure to check out all of our episodes about these amazing wedding industry professionals. We'll see you next time on Vendors. Vendors is produced and edited by Night Owls Media. More information can be found at nightowlsmedia.com.